and welcome to Business Line. The emissions fixing scandal, which has engulfed Volkswagen, the world's biggest car maker, is showing no signs of abating, with the news that other brands of the group may have sold millions of cars fitted with the same software that could cheat in official tests. The scandal got even more serious, with German prosecutors launching a criminal investigation into ex-VW chief executive. For decades, diesels were considered a valid alternative to petrol cars, offering better fuel efficiency. But the VW case is bad news not only for the company and the group, it is also bad for our health.
Many customers are typically shy of buying a used car. Now it's world #1 Volkswagen having to figure out how to regain confidence after it broke the first rule of cheating. Not wanting to look more foolish than dishonest, it now admits that it equipped 11 million of its cars, marketed as clean diesel, with emission detection evasion devices, and has set aside €6.5 billion to start repairing the scandal. Conscientious drivers, believing the German manufacturer's claim it kept diesel pollutants known as NOx within US legal limits, are shocked that it deliberately falsified test results. This woman says, "I'm appalled such a thing is possible in the first place. I'm really embarrassed to drive a VW diesel now. I'm not sure I'm allowed to drive even 1 kilometer with it." The intentional deception of US regulators about how much the VW Group's diesel cars pollute carries an impact beyond its business, because its activity has laid bare weaknesses in the procedures used to measure output, which are not applied to real conditions. US regulators said that during normal driving, harmful emissions, or NOx, nitric oxide and nitrogen dioxide, were up to 40 times above the legal limit. Health advocates link the death of tens of thousands of people to air pollution each year. Half the cars on Europe's roads are diesels, compared to less than 1% in the US. Volkswagen's strategy was to make inroads there, promoting its products as clean diesel. The automobile sector in Germany already accounts for 14% of its GDP. Last year, VW sold 9.5 million cars in the world. Exports of all German-made cars and car parts were valued at more than €200 billion in 2014. The scandal is deeply embarrassing for German politicians too, given the car sector is such an economic heavyweight, and especially Volkswagen. The state of Lower Saxony, where it has its headquarters in Wolfsburg, is a 20% shareholder in the group, and the state government's president and finance minister sit on the supervisory board.
Diesel won't disappear anytime soon, but its star turn as an alternative to the emissions of gasoline and drawbacks of electrics may be cut short, which is great news for hybrids and battery electrics. According to the ACEA, European Automobile Manufacturers Association, in the second quarter of 2015, total alternative fuel vehicle registrations in the EU increased by more than 17%. Of these, electric vehicle registrations grew by 53%. You now might say that many electric cars are more expensive than their conventional counterparts. It is true, but they're also cheaper to run. In the EU member states, various incentives are granted for the purchase and use of these cars. Looking at the EU major markets, the UK saw the biggest increase of alternative fuel vehicle registered over the second quarter. Here, buyers look to receive a grant of up to £5,000. These vehicles are also exempt from annual circulation tax. In France, where the increase is just slightly smaller, you may also benefit from a premium and tax exemption. So getting back to Volkswagen's diesel scandal, it might not signal the end of diesel, but it could accelerate the shift to electric cars. At the Frankfurt Auto Show just a few weeks ago, Porsche unveiled its first all-electric concept car named Mission E. It was described as a part of a bigger push by its parent Volkswagen into electric vehicles. Mission E brought Matthias Müller to the wheel at Volkswagen. There, he'd have to drive fast but safe to restore the group's reputation amid severe competition.
An electric shock for the SUV market as Tesla Motors finally delivered the first of its long-awaited Model X vehicles at a special ceremony in California. It marks a milestone for the loss-making car maker, putting a second model into production alongside the Model S.
As I think you guys know, it's incredibly important that we move to a sustainable world sooner rather than later. The sooner we do it, the better it is.
After years of delays, thousands of buyers who pre-ordered the Model X will have to wait for several more months to get their hands on the car. Tesla hopes it'll revive the firm's fortunes and help usher in the electric car era.
If you're driving a traditional car, these vehicles may already seem very innovative to you. But to win the electric car market, Tesla has to beat not VW, but Apple and Google. The search engine giant is working on the self-driving car, and Apple reportedly is developing its Apple car. In this futuristic concept, everything is computerized and the driver may become a passenger. He could be on Facebook whilst riding in this car, but in India, many may not even know what social media is. This is it. This is IT.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the innovation train. Next up, India. As the Chinese market saturates, high-tech companies have been forced to look for growth elsewhere. Well, how about a country with 1.25 billion people? Until recently, of course, India's aspiration to become an online leader had made little headway. Internet penetration was low, mobile networks were slow, and most people used basic phones. But things are changing fast. This year, Internet users are expected to reach 277 million, and the number of smartphones is forecast to grow to 169 million. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently met with Silicon Valley's top brass, including Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook. The goal was to promote its Digital India plan aimed at developing infrastructure. You see, despite the progress, nearly 1 billion people in the country still have no access to the Internet. Well, Indian-born Sundar Pichai wasn't caught off guard. Google's CEO announced a plan to provide free high-speed Wi-Fi to 400 train stations in the country. The first 100 stations will be wired by the end of 2016, connecting the more than 10 million people who pass through every day. Not to be outdone, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella says the company will join forces with the government to provide low-cost broadband to 500,000 villages. As you can see, this train is not going to stop. That was it. That was IT.
That was it for now. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.